Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today I would like to explain about chapter number one. It is about systemic functional linguistics or SFL. Actually, in chapter number one, we are going to talk about six things about SFL. Well, I am going to talk about the first of SPL. First is basic principles of SFL. SFL is a linguistic approach that is used to study language in terms of making meaning and how to language is used in a social context, including in academic context, as the focus of this study. It was pioneered by Halliday, who based its theoretical foundation on, to mention a few, Saussure, who views that language is social semiotics. In the first S of SFL, there are four basic principles, namely language as a social semiotic resource. The second one, a language as a resource for making meaning rather than a system of rules. And the third, text as the basic unit rather than sentences where meaning is negotiated. And the fourth, the relation between a text and its social context rather than a text as a decode, decontextualized and structural entire in its own right. And the second of chapter number one is about text and context. This section discusses the relation of text and context in SFL. In the earlier section, it is said that SFL concerns text as the basic unit rather than sentences where meaning is negotiated. A text, whether spoken or written or in any medium in whatever length, is a language that is functional which occurs in a particular context. The context of the situation has three features in order to interpret a social context of text. The first feature is the field of discourse, which refers to what is happening to the nature of the social action that is taking place. And the second feature is tenor of discourse, which refers to who is taking part, to the nature of the participant, their status and roles, or the relationship of participants in discourse. The third feature is the mode of discourse, which refers to what part the language is playing, what the participants are expecting the language to do for them in that station. This context of situation shows that the language is used to convey in a meaning, but the meaning conveyed can be different from one culture to another culture. The same thing goes with writing in academic context that has its own purpose and meaning. And the third is metafunction. Metafunctions are defined as components of the language system which corresponds to the abstract function of language. It is also regarded as a semantic system which is organized into three main functional components, namely intentional, including logical and experiential, interpersonal, and textual, in which the three components work in parallel with the other two, which occur in the form of clause. At the end of the discussion, this nation will show that language at the clause level that is realized through its metafunction plays an important role to communicate and to organize the students, the ideas, information, and evidence that can reflect their good understanding and practice of academic writing, city, and character values. And the fourth is intertextuality. The term intertextuality was introduced by Kristeva in the late of 1960, based on the work of Bakhtin, in which are inherently intertextual, constituted by elements of other texts. Intertextuality refers to the defense of one text given others, where in order to understand the full import of the text you need to be aware of its meaning. Moreover, meaning can be made through the relation between two texts, as meaning cannot be made within any single text. A meaningful text is made because it is constituted by the element of the other text. And the fifth is thematic progression. In systematic functional grammar, or SFG, thematic progression derived from the work of Dan and others concerned about where themes come from and how they relate to other themes and realms of a text that can be formed by a systematic relation between the theme realm selection and experiential selection in the text. A thematic progression can be identified by exploring the cohesive ties which occur between the various themes within a text and the location of the item the cohesive ties preserve. And the last is about techniques of data collection and analysis. Text can be in many forms such as image, document, transcription or conversation or monologue or transcription or interviews. In terms of research, the technique of data collection used can be called as document if you want to use image of transcription of dialogue or monologues or transaction between two people or more. I think that's all about the explanation in chapter number 1. Thank you. I am Muhammad Tabrani. Nice to meet you. Have a nice day. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.